ball stretched out to the middle. Back to
Hook it up. There's a shot. They score! They score!
Bernardo Fords. It's in! Rochester has a lead, and again it's Sentinels.
Sunny skies on a Saturday night. That's the scene at the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan as we get you set for Toronto FC2 and the Rochester Rhinos. Alex Bono back between the pipes for the Young Reds. Second consecutive start for him. Malik Johnson, the second leading scorer on the team, will be available as a reserve this evening, which means Sean Hundle will be back in the starting lineup, shouldering the load offensively for Toronto. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan. Matt Nicolantonio here with Terry Dunfield. Toronto FC2 taking on the Rochester Rhinos, looking to snap a 5-game winless streak. Terry, a player that they will be relying upon is 16-year-old Sean Hundle. After a strong start to the season, he is starting to produce with goals in back-to-back games.
Yeah, he's a player in great form. He's got 2 goals in his last 2 games. Each game he's getting better and better. At just 16, he has a very complete game. He can run in behind, he can hold the ball up, and as we know, he can finish.
And we were able to catch up to Sean at training this week, and he spoke about goal scoring and the transition to the USL.
I definitely feel like I should score consistently, but I'm well aware that there are other players that can do it too. So I'm not only going to look at myself to score, but I have full trust in my teammates too. Yeah, I mean, I want to score whenever I can, and it'll be a great boost if I can score at home too.
Sean, now that we're a little bit further into the season, do you feel like you've just adjusted to the pace and the physicality of the USL?
Yeah, it took me some time to get used to the big players against me and learning how to hold the ball up against them, but I feel like I'm pretty used to it now, and I'm only going to get better, I feel.
Does not lack for confidence, and let's take a look at his 2 goals from the season. This one most recently on Saturday. This one a couple weeks ago at home.
In particular, I like this one. We see across from Sam Burnell. Just great first touch there, and with 3 players around it, shows great composure and tucks it away with the outside of his right foot.
Another player that has been important for Toronto this season, midfielder Brian James, a rookie making in his first season in the USL. You've been impressed with his play so far this year, Terry.
Yes, man. He's a player I really like. He's a talented 2-way midfielder. He has the ability to pick out a pass. He links up very well with Sean Hundle. He has 1 goal in 11 games. Brian James recently made his debut for Toronto FC's first team against the Montreal Impact in the Amway Canadian Championships.
Yeah, that was an impressive performance for him and for the entire team. Let's switch gears to the other side. Steven Dos Santos, an important member of this Rochester Rhinos offensive attack, and he's an important member of their offense.
Yeah, Dos Santos, he hails from Cape Verde. In 2 years with the club, he has 8 goals and 17 appearances for Rochester. Before playing for Rochester, he played for Progresso in Angola. This year, he has 1 assist to go with his 2 goals.
We'll have much more ahead of kickoff, but now let's send it down pitch level for the national anthems.
Fans, please give a warm welcome to O'Neill Watson, who will be singing our Canadian national anthem.
Oh, Canada, oh, my native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With love, when not we see thee rise, the truth march wrong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
What a fantastic rendition of O Canada. We are just about set to go here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Continuing the conversation about the Rochester Rhinos, Christian Valesky. He's the team's leading goal scorer with 4 goals. He and Dos Santos led the team last year with 8 apiece. Valesky will be coming off the bench this evening. What does Toronto have to do to contain that offensive Rochester attack?
Both Valesky and Dos Santos have been at the club for 2 years, so when those two are played together, they're very dangerous. Here we see Valesky's goal against the Montreal Impact last week. He blasted past the keeper. What a fantastic strike that is. So probably a good thing, looking at that he's on the bench for Toronto FC today. And here we see Dos Santos, a great run across the near post, and he tucks it in with the outside of his foot. A real striker's goal there.
Let's take a look at our starting goalkeepers on either side. As mentioned off the top, it will be Alex Bono starting for Toronto. 7th game of the season. He's allowed 10 goals over his previous 6 matches thus far. And for Rochester, we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's take a look at the rest of the Toronto FC2 starting 11. See Wesley Sharpie, Mitch Tainer, Skylar Thomas, and Anthony Osorio on that back line. No Raheem Edwards again. He is listed as a substitute there. So Sean Hundle and Booba Job, the versatile Booba Job, will be starting up front. Sal Bernal will be involved in the offensive attack as well. For the Rochester Rhinos, their starting goalkeeper is Thomas Gomez, making just his 4th appearance of the season. He, however, has conceded just 2 goals over his previous 3 appearances, and you see the remainder of the Rochester lineup. Steven Dos Santos will be front and center for the Rhinos. He scored twice last year against this Toronto FC2 club, who essentially swept the season series, taking 3 out of the 4 games. The 4th game was a 0-0 draw, the first ever home game for TFC. That was actually played at BMO Field back in May of last year. So 3 wins and a draw for Rochester against Toronto a year ago. Toronto did not score against Rochester a year ago in 4 games. However, not many teams did. They were an impressive 17-1-10. Finishing up in first place. Terry, what do you know about the systems that both these sides will be playing this evening?
I think for Toronto FC today we'll see a 4-3-3 system. We'll see Jonathan Osorio at left back. We'll see Sharpie in his usual right back slot going up and down the right hand side. The center half duos of Tainter and Thomas. Chris Manillo will sit in front of the back 4 and make the team tick. Just in front of him you'll have Daniels and James. James is a player that'll try to get forward and link with Hundell. Hundell up at the top will hold the line. It's important that he stretches the team, which gives space for Daniels and him to play. And then out wide we'll see Sal Bernal and Job.
Toronto FC2 in the all-red kits, moving from right to left on your screen. Rochester in the all-white kits from left to right. A win or a draw in 7 of the last 8 contests for Rochester. TFC2 will have their hands full here this evening. A glorious evening for football as we are underway from the Ontario Soccer Centre. A little bit of wind swirling around here and a bright sun to contend with as well. But the temperature, very, very comfortable for these players tonight, Terry.
Yeah, it's a beautiful night for soccer. It might be a little bit slow on the AstroTurf field tonight. It looks quite dry, and at times it can be a little bit sicky. But yeah, great night for the fans, and it should be a good one.
And we have heard, as you mentioned, we have heard Jason Benton talk about how this turf can get very slow in the heat, and it has been warm for a number of days now. About 30 degrees close to it Celsius at kickoff here. Just north of Toronto.
Yeah, it's important that the boys really punch their passes in, as we've seen early.
Sal Bernal looking for that pass from Aiden Daniels, was not able to connect, but it will be out for a throw to Toronto. And soccer really dominating the headlines in the sports pages starting yesterday. Euro 2016 getting underway from France. Terry, of course, providing coverage on TSN 1050 radio for that. Copa America going on right now as well. As a result, Toronto FC on a little bit of a break right now, but a lot of soccer going on, so a good time for the sport right now, Terry.
Yeah, fantastic. Today we saw a bit of an upset. Wales top of Group B right now. England conceding in the 93rd minute against Russia.
Back at the Ontario Soccer Centre, though, we're got Toronto and Rochester still sort of feeling each other out here in the opening 2 minutes. Bouba Jobe on that right side. We have seen him play all over the park this year. I believe this is his first start at forward this season. He played primarily as a forward in his limited action last season. He's played midfield. He's played left back for Jason Benton's club, but tonight with some injuries and unavailability up front, Bouba Jobe will be the starting forward alongside Sean Hundle.
Yeah, he'll be wide of a front three. I think he's very dangerous out there. He's got great pace. He can get past his fullback, but he's also not afraid to put an early ball into the box. And if he is able to do that, it's important that there's not just Hundle in the box, that James breaks forward and that Burnell comes in at the back post.
There's Skylar Thomas. Last time we were here, a couple of Sundays ago, Skylar Thomas receiving 2 yellow cards in that 3-1 loss to Wilmington. And as a result, he was forced to sit out the weekend's game on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a tough day at the office for Skylar Thomas, but it showed the kind of character he was after I was in and around the changing room, and he held his hand up and he knew he had a bad day. And it was unlike him and uncharacteristic. He's a very consistent player. You know what you're going to get from him each week. And his performance against Charlotte in the last game, unfortunately, he was suspended for that one. He wasn't able to get that performance out of his system, so today's an important game for him.
It's pushed forward. Now up to the right side for Ryan James. Back into the middle for Sean Toch. Trying to find James on that right side. Osorio will get back and send it out for a Rochester. I believe it was deflected off a Rochester player, and it will be a Toronto throw, so a good bit of defending there from Anthony Osorio, but did look like for a moment Ryan James was going to get a step on him.
Yeah, Osorio does really well there. As James tries to play a 1-2, Osorio isn't caught ball watching, and he fills back into his left back slot.
This is whipped towards goal, and that wind having an effect on that long lob. And Alex Bono had to sort of recalculate and readjust where he was going to play that, and took it on a hop.
Yeah, there's definitely a strong crosswind, as you could see there.
The wind is blowing sort of directly into camera vantage point. So it's a west to east wind. And it looked like even on that throw-in from Anthony Osorio that it may have gotten caught up in the wind a little bit. Aiden Daniels will send that out wide. Wesley Sharpie will run onto it. Sharpie crossing in, maybe looking for Hundal, and it does not connect to him or Sal Bernal, and is out for a goal kick.
Positive play there from Sharpie. Doesn't turn down the opportunity to put the ball in the box. The ball probably gets caught up in that wind a little bit, goes over top of Hundal, and Bernal's not able to quite bring it down.
In a game like this where you do have these windy conditions, how long into a match does it take you to sort of figure out what sort of angle you have to play or how strong? There's only so much that you can tell from warm-up. So how long within the match does it take for you to adjust?
I think you nailed it on the head there. You actually start to get a feel of it in the warm-up there. In windy conditions like that, it's important that they keep the ball low and that they try to play their way out of the back. Chris Manella will be very important player sat in front of the back four trying to link play.
It's Joseph Farrell playing it across. Comes down from Jordan Becker and push forward. Marcos Ugarte. Back for Ugarte. Now into the middle. As Dos Santos has Ryan James on this near side, but overhits, and it's out for a Toronto throw. Fans, keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. Samuel, push forward, looking for Dos Santos, taken by Toronto. Manella, looked like a handball there from Rochester, no whistle. And this comes down to Dos Santos, and it's off the bar, and not yet cleared by Toronto. There is James with it. That strike will go well over the goal, and Steven Dos Santos inches away from putting Rochester on the board.
Great strike from Dos Santos. We'll take a look at it here. It comes after some good interplay from Torch. Torch just nods it back to him, and he takes one touch out of his feet, and he almost hits it into the wind, and it bends in off the post.
Almost like a golfer trying to play that wind and read where it's going to go. And you're right, he knew how the wind was going to react and nearly curled it in with that wind.
Yeah, great tough technique from Dos Santos there. Hits it almost with the outside of his foot a little bit. Fully beat Bono in that net, and it hits the lower part of the goalpost.
There's Skylar Thomas now. This sent up. Heads up, Terry. Right on top of us here.
Definitely an early wake-up call for TFC there. When you're struggling for form a little bit, they've not won in their last 5. The last thing you want to do is concede in the first 10 minutes.
It's Dos Santos again, and maybe taking a note from Terry, everything low from Dos Santos, not trying to get the ball caught up in that wind too much. That's 2 strikes from him, both right on the turf.
Yeah, you can definitely see that Santos will not hesitate to shoot. Any opportunities in and around the box, he will try to get a shot in on goal. It looks like both him and Torch are going to be a handful up front. 2 big players, and they play quite close together. So it's important that Chris Manella just drops in front of the 2 center halves, and helps protect Tainter and Thomas.
There's Manella with it now. Wesley Sharpie. Push forward, looking for a Hundal.
After some good play there, James gets on it, free in the middle of the park. He turned down the pass out here to Osorio and tries to go up the middle. The diagonal was definitely on there.
Rochester moving forward, pushed up down the left side, and it will be Tainter who runs onto it ahead of Jordan Becker. And this is out for a Toronto throw. So one more look at that opportunity from Dos Santos that rang off the bar.
Here we see Torch just knock it down for him. He takes one touch. What a great strike. Tough technique there. Pings it off the lower part of the post.
Rochester pressuring again.
Santos.
Dominic Samuel runs that down and is able to keep it in play. Pushes this back for Farrell. Farrell will swing it in. Pulled down by Dos Santos and knocked away sharply by Toronto. And Booba Joe about wide on the right side now. We'll look to mount a counter for Toronto. Push forward for Hundal. Hundal surrounded by white jerseys, able to maintain. Still has an opportunity and now finally dispossessed. And here is Ryan James on the near side, slowing things down.
Yeah, good counterattack try from the TFC there. At the moment, the front 3 is quite stretched away from the midfield and the back 4. It's important that the back 4 get up the pitch and they don't just sag back.
Samuel with some space. Forbes. Farrell. That's Apostolopoulos leaving it there. Forbes pushed up for Toch. Marked closely by Skylar Thomas. And Thomas will clear towards midfield.
Great movement there from Torres. He just checks in. You think he's going to get it in the space just in front of the back four, which creates that space in behind, and he gets in behind Skylar Thomas.
Just shy of 11 minutes played here in Toronto. No score between the Rhinos and TFC2. Manella, Brian James. Osorio whips it up looking for Bernal. Samuel got a piece of it.
Yeah, important interception from Samuel there. If he doesn't get that, Bernal's in.
Forbes. Apostolopoulos forward and now back again. Intercepted by Manella. Brian James. James working alone, and now we'll find Manella.
Very good composed play from Brian James. He looked forward. There's only Hundell up there who's marked by 4 players. He just keeps the team in possession.
Manella sending that all the way forward. Looked like he may have been trying to link up with Sean Hundell. Samuel.
Matt, I can tell already that these front two of Torres and Dos Santos are going to be a handful for the back four tonight. Both of them are very clean players, and they play in quite close proximity to one another.
Long up the right side for James. Touch. Cross in and cleared away by Thomas.
Just then before, Matt, there's an example of the ball on grass that runs out of play, but on this turf, it'll hold up in the corner.
This one will run out of play and will be a goal kick to Toronto. Bono to take this goal kick, as this game really not had a lot of pace to it just yet. A little push in the back there from Hundell will result in a Rochester free kick. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive news and interactive content. And Terry, this is a Rochester side that not only has been impressive in league play so far this year, and of course defending champs, but in the U.S. Open Cup they've made a bit of a run as well.
Yeah, not only are they 5th in the league, they've also done well in the, as you say, in the U.S. Open Cup. They're in the 4th round. They'll now face the New York Red Bulls, which will be a big game for this club. This club is steeped with tradition as well. They're the only team not in the top flight in the MLS to last win the U.S. Open Cup. Open Cup in 1999. They actually lifted it when they were playing back in the A-League, the only team not in the MLS to do that. But back then they were quite a strong team. They were regularly playing in front of 10,000 people, and they were also doing well in the A-League. They won it in 98, 2000, and 2001. An old Canadian teammate of mine, Pat Onstad, used to play for that team as well.
Here's Samuel. Bernal with a steal there. Bernal trying to fight his way in. Taken down by a couple of defenders, but Brian James with an opportunity here. 5 white sweaters in front of him. He is pushed down, and nothing coming from the official. And Rochester will mount a counter.
He has to shoot there. He just opened up for him perfect on his right foot and just turned down that invitation.
And then at that point, it was just surrounded by white sweaters. No options for him there. Headed away by Osorio. Bernal takes an aggressive challenge there. And he's won a free kick. That was Canardo Forbes going in aggressively.
Here we see Osorio just get to it before him. Not quite a 2-foot challenge, but definitely a hard challenge from him. Lucky to escape without a yellow card.
Yeah, was wondering if we might see one there. And early in the game, nothing, no cautioning from the official.
Yeah, we've seen Rochester line up in a 4-4-2 system. We don't see that as much anymore, but both their midfielders are very athletic, and as we've seen there, they'll work on both sides of the ball. And if you dwell on it like James did just a little bit before, either Forbes or Fall will be right in your face.
This Booba Job looks to turn the corner there, just a bit too heavy on the touch, and was not able to maintain possession as he went around Jordan Becker.
We just saw his turn of pace there, how quick he can get around the corner past the defender. Unfortunately, it runs out of play.
Little more than a quarter of an hour played here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Scoreless between Toronto and Rochester. It's back for Bono. Now Manella. Again for Bono, as Toronto not really liking what they see in terms of being able to push forward offensively. They have been stymied thus far. Hundal into the middle for James. Looked like maybe he was trying to take a shot there, was kind of caught in between, and it rolls harmlessly towards goalkeeper Gomez.
James is getting in some excellent positions. He's just not quite executing. Hundal does really well there to hold the ball up. He picks out James in that pocket. James tries to go out wide to Burnell, but just gets it caught under his feet and doesn't quite hit it cleanly. Fantastic hold-up play, though, from Hundal. At just 16, that's so impressive. He makes the simple things look so good, and that's not an easy skill.
Manella, Skylar Thomas back to the captain. Hayden Daniels. Daniels able to work through still. James lost his boot there, or his shin pad, I think, on that pass. Osorio crossed in. Daniels not able to bring it down. And I think it was just thrown over to the sidelines here. It looks like it was the bottom of Brian James' shoe that has sort of been detached from the rest of his boot, and looks like he was sort of walking a little bit like with a limp out there. Toronto with an opportunity here. Comes to Wesley Sharpie. Sharpie still with it. Now Job.
Yeah, we've just heard from the touchline. He's playing without cleats at the moment, so great spot, Matt.
What kind of disadvantage does that give to Brian James right now?
Obviously, he's not going to have great traction, but fortunately, it's not wet grass and it's on AstroTurf right now.
And takes a tumble there. Rough go for the last 90 seconds for Brian James.
I know it's a Canadian broadcast, but it's a little bit different than losing your hockey stick. You can't just come over to the bench and, oh, go put another boot on.
There's Osorio. Thomas. Sharpie on the right flank.
We just see James at the bottom of your screen there. He's come off the pitch. He's going to have to change his boots now. Good alertness from the kit man. He's been already down to the change room, and he's got another pair of boots for him.
So Toronto momentarily down a man as Brian James gets a new pair of shoes put on.
Shape-wise, not a lot will change. It will now be a 4-4-1. Both midfielders will just sit in the middle of the park, and Job and Burnell just tuck in a 4.
Yeah, this is where it, as we get a look at Brian James, hastily tying up those boots. This is where it is advantageous to have players like Bernal and Job who are able to drop back in that formation almost seamlessly. They've started at midfield, played full games at midfield.
Yeah, both versatile players. We've seen Job play all the way up and down that right flank and look like slotting back into that right back slot or right midfield or right wing. He's got no problem with that. For me, his best position's up the pitch in an attacking position where he is today.
Osorio Pushes us all the way up the field just to create a little bit of space and give an opportunity for James to get back on. He's being held back by the fourth official for now.
Yeah, it looks a little bit strange for me. When you come off with an injury, all you need to do is be waved on by the referee. But I guess when you a bit of an equipment malfunction, you have to wait for the ball to go out of play or a foul.
Here's Farrell on his own side of midfield for Samuel. Fall to the far side. It's Forbes. Farrell. Samuel and Farrell. Into the middle, Forbes. Job unable to intercept that. And Forbes.
TFC looking very compact in their two banks of four, difficult to break down. We're seeing some patient play here from Rochester, just waiting for that right pass.
Forbes, one touch to Fall. Samuel, touch. Trying to go back to Samuel. Interrupted there by Osorio. And this will allow Brian James to re-enter the match. Throw taken quickly. James curves it in. Thomas heads it away. James back on the pitch, looking to push it forward for Toronto. Intercepted. And Rochester will control again with James. Ryan James in the middle. Fall. Takes it back again from Ugarte. Farrell.
It's patient defending right now from TFC, and they're very compact. But I'd like to see them just get a little bit higher up the pitch. At times, Hundel's a bit of an isolated figure up there between Apostolopoulos and Farrell. Here's an opportunity where Daniels could put some pressure on the ball.
This is hit a little bit hard, and Bono will be able to collect that. It plays for Skylar Thomas. Brian James, or rather Bernal rather, for Osorio.
Matt, right now there's about 65 yards between Tainter and Hundel. They're just too far apart from each other right now. Skylar Thomas and Tainter need to get another 10 yards higher up the pitch.
Daniels. Daniels with a bit of a run here. Daniels, left-footed strike, not strong enough. Easily taken by Gomez.
Yeah, great surge there from Daniels. We saw it a little bit earlier on the halfway line. That's a great skill for a midfielder. Just goes past his player there, and on his wrong left foot, why not? He takes a strike, just cuts across it a little bit. Easy for goalkeeper Thomas.
Apostolopoulos in the middle for Wall. Wall, Fall, number 17. Fall still with it. Swung out wide on the left. Sean Toch. A little bit of space here. It's deflected away. Swung in and over.
Rochester there getting to a good part of the pitch there. Just mishits his cross there. He needs to at least give his center forward, DeSantos, an opportunity to get it there.
Osorio looking to pick out Hundel. And just a little bit too far, and Rochester will send it out for a throw. Bernal. Daniels. Able to maintain. There's Brian James. Manella. Osorio. Bernal. One touch finds Osorio back. Crossed in. Hundel looking to go for a bicycle kick there and was not able to time it up right and whistled for a foul, actually.
Yeah, we see Hundel go for the spectacular there. Good play down the left-hand side here. Osorio and Sal Bernal play a great 1-2. We see it here. Good change of pace here from Osorio. He's got a great left foot. Unfortunately, he's going straight into the wind there. It just holds up a little bit. There's only two players. There's only Job and Hundel in the box. I'd love to see Daniels just bust a gut and make a third attacker in the box.
Bernal pressuring. Rochester maintains. Tosh. Now James sends forward, and Bono will grab that as it was heading out of bounds.
Good tracking back from James there. He just puts him off enough. He just shoulders him a little bit, and it goes back to Bono.
Manella. Tainer and Thomas. Daniels. Bernal. Fends off the defending there from Wall. His pass for Hundal. Miss hit. And Rochester will send this back to goalkeeper Gomez. Thomas heads forward for Osorio. Manella. And that's out on the far side. Rochester to throw. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Touch. Wide right for Samuel. Blocked by Bernal. Out for a Rochester throw. Samuel for James. Defended well by Skylar Thomas. Samuel looking to cross in. Deflected by Osorio. Comes down again and out for a Toronto throw. This is wind pushed out of bounds. 29 minutes played here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Scoreless between Toronto and Rochester. And Terry, there's a number of players we've seen this year step into the first team for Toronto. Your impressions of how the system has worked for the Reds so far this year?
Yeah, the whole system at the club's working really well. We're seeing a whole bunch of academy players step up to the USL team, and then from this USL team, we're seeing players graduate into the first team. In particular, Mo Babuli and Jordan Hamilton last week against Montreal have been superb. Chapman's got time. And also player Brian James, he made his debut for the team against Montreal. Malik Johnson on the bench, he came on against Montreal. He also made his debut. But probably you're starting to see now the system work. Mo Babuli, he's not only just part of the first team, but he's starting to make a big impression. He's playing a lot of minutes right now. And a player who I was very impressed with against Montreal in the Amway Canadian Cup was Jordan Hamilton. He was fantastic, and it just shows all this hard work that you put in at this USL level. When he goes out at BMO in front of 20 or 30,000, that he's well equipped and ready to make that step up. He scored 2 goals, played a big part in 2 of the other goals in the first leg in the 4-2 win over Montreal. Then in the second leg at Stade Staboudio, TFC drew 0-0, which will see them now go to the final against the Vancouver Whitecaps of the Canadian Championships. But Hamilton in that game played another 90 minutes and was superb defensively.
There's an opportunity now for Rochester. Dos Santos looking to pick up James, and this will roll out for a throw. Could not have been any closer to that corner flag without going out for a goal kick. Almost a little bit unlucky there for Toronto, as Rochester will be able to keep them pinned down in their territory.
I've been impressed with Fall in midfield for Rochester. He picks up a lot of second balls, and he also has a pretty good range of passing. I think Daniels or James could get a little bit closer to stop him from playing.
Osorio throws in for James. Manella. Tainter. Wesley Sharpie. Manella. James.
Yeah, you hear the coach, Jason Bent, yelling forward there. It was a great first-time pass from Daniels into Job. If Job just would have been on the half turn and got a shout from one of his teammates, he could have got at the back four. Instead, he plays safe.
Bernal lifts that on goal, towards goal anyway, and it's up and over. No contest there for Thomas Gomez.
Good effort for Sal Bernal. He just cuts in onto his favored right foot. Doesn't quite hit the target. Just gets under it a little bit, and it sails over the net.
And for the most part, through 32.5 minutes, it has been tough sledding offensively for Toronto. Very little holes in this Rochester defense that they've been able to try to expose.
Yeah, it's been quite a close game. There's not been a whole bunch of opportunities. Probably the best chance fell at 7 minutes to Dos Santos, where he hit the post from distance.
Booba Job trying to change that. He runs up on the right side, looking for Hundal! And it's waved off by the official. Sean Hundal looked like he had his third goal in 3 games, and I believe it was a handball and a yellow card to Sean Hundal, and it's a goal off the board for Toronto.
Second time he's had a goal chalked off in the last 4 or 5 games.
4 games, I believe.
Just as we were saying, there's been no opportunities. We see Job here go down the right-hand side, puts a great ball in behind the Rochester back four in front of the goalkeeper. That corridor is so difficult to defend. It deflects off of the Rochester player, hits Sean Hundal in the hand. You can see him sort of move his hand towards it. Definitely a handball, and the referee made the right decision.
It was, just as you said, we had the best opportunity was at 7 minutes, and now I think safe to say that's probably the best opportunity in the 34th. Just lacked a little bit of the finish there from Hundal.
Yeah, it was a tough one that came to him. It came off the center half for Rochester, sort of came at Hundal too quickly. It was almost past him. All he could do was sort of flail an arm at it. But great play.
Nobody notices?
I guess, yeah. It's just sort of an instinct thing there, and it goes into the back of the net. But great play from Job on the right-hand side. Uses his pace to go past Becker, the left back for Rochester, and he just plays a great ball in behind into that corridor between the center halves and the goalkeeper that's so difficult to defend.
Job at it again. Here's Skylar Thomas. Osorio. Bernal. Hundal. Job.
Again there, Job. Some great interplay from Toronto FC. James had made a run in behind. Job just turns back and plays safe. He could have played a ball through the pair of the center halves.
It's taken down by Manella. Tainter. Skylar Thomas. Daniels. Now Manella. Thomas. Bernal.
It's important TFC don't give the ball away that high up the pitch. With their fullbacks so high, they could be caught on the counterattack.
Bernal nearly takes it back. Rochester maintains possession with James. Samuel. A little bit of a mishit there by Ugarte. Looks like he got his foot caught in the turf. Is able to maintain the possession. And it's sent out wide now for Samuel. Bernal knocks that off the Rochester player. Toronto to throw.
Yeah, there we see the other side of Sal Bernal's game. Working hard defensively. Tracks back as you should, and Jason Benton expects from his wide players.
There's an opportunity now for Rochester. James slides it in for touch, and that's taken by Bono, was heading wide. And he will look to mount a quick counter for Toronto. Daniels has Job and Manella. We'll circle back a bit for Sharpie.
I'd like to see Daniels there. Just played in behind just like that and just utilized Job's pace in behind the fullback Becker. It's all good and well keeping possession, but when you've got Job and so much pace out wide, utilize it. Play that ball in behind. Test Becker.
Job in an offside position there, and the flag goes up.
Rochester here, Matt, just running out of ideas a little bit against this stubborn TFC2 system. Chris Manella is working extremely hard now in front of Skylar Thomas and Tainer, making it difficult to get balls into Torsch and Dos Santos.
Here's Dos Santos now. Touch. Wall. Samuel. Forbes, now Wall, back to Forbes. Pushed out wide for James. Crosses in, but I believe the offside flag was up there. Mentioned Toronto did not score at all against Rochester last season. Rochester managing just 5 goals over the 4 matches. So offense at times hard to come by for Rochester against Toronto as well.
Yeah, we see the back 4 for Toronto FC do really well there, communicating with one another. As soon as there's a back pass or a square pass there from forwards, they step up and they catch Rochester offside.
Skylar Thomas. Thought Thomas might have been whistled there, but I believe it was touch. Daniels, Sharpie. Bono all the way out. Pushes this up the pitch. Gomez stopped up, as did Bernal. He races over, but is not able to keep it in play. I think Bernal stopped up thinking Gomez was going to have it. Gomez stopped, realizing it was a little out of his radius.
Yeah, if Bernal doesn't stop there, I think he gets on the end of it. Good alert goalkeeping from Bono. He sees a pass played back with not quite enough pace, and he's alert and he's on it. It can be tough for Bono. He's gone 35 minutes since that shot off the post with not a lot of action. It's important he keeps his concentration like that, and he's aware.
Thomas, Osorio, Manella. Booba Job. Chip forward for Sharpie. Sharpie threw into the area, and it's knocked away for a corner. First corner of the match on either side will come to Toronto here in the 41st minute. And it's created by Wesley Sharpie.
Yeah, good powerful running here from Sharpie, the TFC fullback. Bundles over another one, tries to knock it past him one way and go the other way. The defender just gets back and puts it out for a corner.
This situation here can be quite tricky for Toronto given the wind, Terry.
Yeah, I'd like to see a left footer taking it, but Osorio has the quality to whip it in on net.
Knocked away. Sent up by James. Thomas fighting to get through, but not able to get a touch to it, and Gomez will handle it.
Not a bad idea from Burnell there, just to help it back into the danger area. So many goals come on that second phase of play. As the defenders are pushing out, there's a little bit of space in behind, and if you just time your right, you can run right, you can get in.
James. It's Ryan James for Rochester. Now Samuel. Forbes. Apostolopoulos. Canardo Forbes. Becker. Forbes. Ugarte. Dos Santos. And free kick given here to Rochester.
Dos Santos does well there to use his body and shield off Manella. Manella just tries to win it from the wrong side and gives away a free kick.
Taken quickly by the Rhinos. Swung in by Farrell. Dos Santos looking to go up for a header, but met there by Skylar Thomas.
Fantastic header there from Skylar Thomas. That's what he's so good. He's a real leader back there, and he takes control, wins a great header.
Tainter, push forward for Job. Tried a little stutter step there, but read nicely by Rochester defender. And again, Farrell able to keep that away from Hundal, and Farrell knocks it away from Job. Forbes.
That's better from Daniels, getting in and around Fall there, not allowing him to play. Of the two midfielders, he's the one that you want to stop getting on the ball. Forbes is a little bit negative on the ball. He likes to go sideways as he plays the ball into Dos Santos there.
And Dos Santos plays that out wide for Samuel, and out for a Toronto throw. Manella, Thomas, Tainter. In the middle for James. Tainter. Manella.
Yeah.
Thomas. Dos Santos. Forbes. Just over 44 minutes played here in Toronto, scoreless. Maybe one above average quality scoring chance for either side. Steven Dos Santos hitting the post in the 7th minute, and Sean Hundal looked like he had a goal, but was scooped in by a deliberate handball. Was given a yellow card for that offense, that in the 34th minute. Other than that, not a whole lot has transpired throughout the match. This will be a free kick to Rochester. I believe there will probably be 1 minute of added time here as we approach the 45-minute mark. Rochester had one free kick from this distance, a little bit more center cut, and they took it quickly. But in this instance, it will be Becker who is going to swing it in. A number of white jerseys move into the area. Left-footed, plays it in, and it's headed away, and that's out for a goal kick. And in fact, there will be no added time to this first half. It was not terribly scintillating. As mentioned, just one scoring opportunity apiece from Steven Dos Santos and from Sean Hundel, but neither goalkeeper tested at all in that opening 45. No saves needed to be made on either side of the ball, either side of the pitch, I should say. Rochester probably dominating the possession, but Toronto's defense content to sort of sit back and allow them to bring the game to them. And Toronto's defense was fit to the task, and Rochester equally so, as there were not a lot of holes presented to that Toronto side. And after 45 minutes of play, we are scoreless at the Ontario Soccer Centre in Toronto. One cautioning in the opening half belongs to Sean Hundel. As I mentioned, in the 34th minute, he was shown the yellow card for the deliberate handball on that attempted goal. Let's send it down to pitch side now. Terry Dunfield is standing by.
Family Chiropractic and Back to Health Chiropractic Centers. Make sure to check out the vendors inside the front gates. The Hardwood Outlet, EasyNet, Scott Family Chiropractic, and Back to Health Chiropractic Centers are all proud sponsors of Toronto FC2.
Hi, I'm Terry Dunfield with Aiden Daniels. Aiden, what are your overall thoughts on the first half?
I think we've done well so far. Gotten into good areas in their defensive third. Just need to be a little bit more creative and calm up the ball.
I thought you've been fantastic. I love your change of pace and how you sort of drive at that back four. Any other ways that we could maybe create more opportunities in the second half?
I think finding Sean coming off the line and getting third man runs through their back line will get us some good opportunities in the second half.
Sounds good. All the best in the second half.
Thank you.
No score after the opening 45 minutes. The Rochester Rhinos, the defending champions, in town on a gorgeous Saturday night for football. Scoreless at the half. We'll have much more to come as our halftime show continues. You are watching USL on YouTube.
And also a reminder that the beer tent does close in the 65th minute, so make sure to check it out located at the south end of the stadium. on behalf of Toronto FC2, we would like to welcome Pastor John to the field to present New Life Christian Church with a signed jersey as a token of our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming participants from the New Life Christian Church to Fairfield to play a small-sided match brought to you by EasyNet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ontario Soccer Centre in Vaughan. Matt Antonio and Terry Dunfield here. Scoreless at the half between Toronto FC2 and the Rochester Rhinos. The game's certainly not going to get on the top 10 list of more entertaining matches we've seen so far, but we have, for lack of a better word, some highlights from the first half.
It was a well thought out first half. Both teams are definitely battling, and here we see Rochester get a great chance early on. Some good link-up play here. Ball falls back to DeSantos. He smashes it off the outside of the post there. Great technique from him. We see Bono at full stretch. Nothing he can do about there. Here we see Daniel surge forward. Great play from him. He just doesn't quite strike it cleanly enough with his left foot, but good play from the youngster. Here, Chris Manella, who's done really well in front of the back four, gets it out wide to Osorio. Osorio plays a great 1-2 with Sal Burnell, plays the ball into the box, just gets caught up in the wind a little bit, and Hundell goes for the spectacular. Here we see Job's incredible pace down the right-hand side, plays a great ball into the box. Hundell makes a run into the near post, and just deflects off the Rochester defender and off his hand. Good call from the referee. Here we see Rochester, good run in behind by the big fella up front. Skylar Thomas just loses him a little bit, gets back, and Bono makes a save he should make.
So, I'll admit, Terry, those were some excellent first half highlights. It's been a tough fought battle. Scoreless so far. We will have much more on the halftime show, including the Week 11 USL Goals of the Week. You're watching the USL on YouTube.
feet. Great ball. Looking down low. Kibbe has a good touch from this side of the field. Now he'll dink it up midfield. Cross it in. It's in. We have leveled this one in body field. And Daniel Trickett Smith, the British invasion, has made good here. The youngster from the
FC Cincinnati has just seconds remaining here at home, clinging to a clean sheet. Ownby, does he have time for one more? He does. He sends it into the middle, and there it is. An equalizer by Richmond, who may have just stolen a point on the road.
Congratulations to both teams. Let's get a huge round of applause for our participants tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, in order that all fans at the Ontario Soccer Centre can enjoy the game, please observe the following courtesies. Please refrain from using offensive language and cheer in a respectful manner. Any patrons entering the playing field will be subject to immediate prosecution. Please be aware that balls may be hit into the stands at a high rate of speed. If the ball does go into the stands, please return it to the nearest ball kid or stadium staff member. If you participate in unruly behavior or throw objects onto the playing field, you will be immediately escorted from the stadium. Fans, please use proper concourses and walkways and refrain from climbing over seats and barriers. The Ontario Soccer Centre is a smoke-free facility. For all future events, please keep in mind that outside food and beverages as well as inline sales are not permitted at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Your consideration and cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you, and enjoy the match. Get the latest news and live stats and check out the new social media hub. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Follow USL on Twitter to become a league insider, join for conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. All USL regular season and playoff games are available live free and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. And fans, a reminder that our USL will be closing in the 65th minute. It is located on the south end of the stadium. So get down there and purchase a refreshing beverage before it closes. Toronto FC fans, our next home game of the Ontario Soccer Centre is on Wednesday, June 15th versus FC Montreal at 11:30 a.m. Toronto FC season seats are also now on sale, starting at $120. For more information, visit ufc2.ca. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the officials and teams for the second half of play.
Terry Dunfield with Jason Bent here. It was a good battle in the first half. What are your thoughts?
Yes, Terry, I mean, they're a team that doesn't get to where they are for no reason. You know, they're very, very difficult to break down. Defensively, very organized. They're physical. So we felt that we had some success with Bouba Job getting in behind their left back a little bit, as well as creating 2v1s on the left flank with Oso and Sal. So if we continue doing that, possibly we can create another chance.
Yeah, you guys look dangerous out wide. Any other ways maybe we could get Sean Hundle in the game a bit?
Yeah, you know, it was a little bit unlucky when Bouba got in behind the left back and squared the ball for Sean. It kind of popped up a little bit, and yeah, it was handball. But hopefully if we can continue to tuck little balls into him and run off of him. But we needed to feet because they're pretty big, the center backs.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Here's our first half stats. As you see, no goals, 1 shot on goal for Toronto, 2 for Rochester. Just 1 corner won in the match. It was late for Toronto, and obviously nothing came of it. We are back underway here in the second half. Toronto in the red kits, left to right. Rochester in the white kits, right to left. Sun is setting to the northwest of our broadcast position. Saw some wonderful shots of that during our halftime. Matt DiNicolantonio here with you. Terry Dunfield alongside me, providing the analysis. Toronto FC2 and the Rochester Rhinos scoreless here in the opening minutes of the second half. Sal Bernal sends it out wide right to Bouba Job. He is able to keep that in. Not the second opportunity, as that just runs out. As you heard Jason Benton mention in his interview with Terry, that is an area that they are looking to exploit. Bouba Job wide on that right flank, working against the left back. That is Kyle Becker. Jordan Becker, excuse me.
Kyle Becker, ex-player, used to play for TFC, now at Montreal.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Canadian international as well. Good player.
There's Sal Bernal. Push forward for Hundle. Bernal into the middle, and that's always a foul. Always going to be a foul on Sal Bernal, taking down the defender as he tried to fight his way through to that loose ball.
Good start to the half for TFC. Sal Bernal here gets the ball, tries to play a 1-2, gets the ball into Hundle's feet, plays a clever ball through the Rochester center half. Definitely a foul. The referee's made the big decisions so far tonight.
Headed down by Skylar Thomas, comes right to Marcos Ugarte. There's Dos Santos, always dangerous in that area. Now Becker lofts it in. Bono sure-handedly steps up and grabs it. Aiden Daniels, a little bit out of sync with Hundle.
Yeah, not a bad idea there from Aiden Daniels. He just needed an angle from Hundle up front. He just got caught a little bit flat-footed.
Chipped in. Daniels is there and will send it away. That was Sean Touch, who was looking dangerous. As we take a look at Toronto FC head coach Greg Vanney in attendance tonight, as he is often at these TFC2 games whenever he can, comes out, and it's an excellent scouting trip for him.
Yeah, we see him sat there with operations manager Corey Ray. Rarely, as you said, Matt misses a game, and these are the next crop coming up to his team. And we spoke about earlier in the broadcast, Hamilton make the step up, Mo Babuli, Chapman, and it's fantastic for these young players to know that the first team manager's here watching them so that they can impress them. And what a fantastic cherry for these young players as well to go out there at BMO.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity for them to show what they can do in a game situation. We've seen, players get called in to train with the first team at times. Of course, they share a training facility up at the Kia Training Grounds at Downsview Park. But it's a different animal when you get into a competitive match. And Greg Vanney is able to use this as an excellent scouting tool to determine which players might be able to transfer that to his MLS side.
Yes, there's a huge difference between training and playing matches. Some players are excellent in training and then can't quite step up and bring that quality to matches. Especially against these experienced USL teams, this is a good test for the young players. It's a little bit different than playing against some of the affiliation teams like the Montreal 2 or FC Montreal or the New York Red Bulls 2.
Bernal and Manella combine to change the possession here, and Aiden Daniels will sprint forward. Bernal out wide to the left. Bernal still running, is able to push it forward and trying to draw the contact there, unsuccessful, and it's out for a goal kick. Dos Santos. Steven Dos Santos scored twice against Toronto last season. In the first match between these two teams early last year, he scored in injury time as the only goal of the match in a 1-0 Rochester victory.
Not only is he good at scoring and he's lethal in the box, you can see his hold-up play is very good as well. It's important that Skylar Thomas doesn't get too close to him so that Dos Santos is able to roll him. He's very good at doing that, using his body to just roll around the corner.
And we see he's got a heavy bandage on his left hand. Looks like it might be stabilizing some fingers or his wrist. Does that impact how he might play at all, having a hand injury like that?
No, I don't think a hand injury will affect you at all. Good alert goalkeeping there from Bono, quick off his line.
Mitch Tainter plays it through, looking for Job, but Becker is able to step up and win it back for Rochester.
Tough ball into Job there from Tainter. I think the space was in behind the fullback. Just needed to turn them. Worst case scenario when you turn teams is you get a throw in deep in their half.
There's Ugarte, offside flag up. Back for Bono, and quickly back up again for Tainter, and once again to the American goalkeeper. Manella, Job. Job still with it, able to free for Sharpie, and Manella trying to slow things down a little bit here for Toronto. Up for Job, just a step ahead of him. Ugarte, forward for Toch.
Good play from Job there. Gets a tough ball from Manila in up around his waist. That shows his progression. Last season, that ball bounces off him for a throw-in, or there he keeps possession for the team.
This is Forbes. And now Apostolopoulos. This played right down onto Bono. Interesting to know. Not interesting in terms of the match. Apostolopoulos has his first name on the back of his jersey, and you have to wonder if it was just too long to fit on the back of the sweater.
Yeah, it'd probably go around back to the front. Good player back there. Both the center halves are very good players. Astopoulos and Farrell there. I think the space, as Jason Bennett said, is going to be just in front of them or just behind them. Any high balls into Hundell, those two will dominate in the air.
In case you're trying to count at home, Apostolopoulos, 14 letters in the last name, which is the same as mine, so I can relate. There's a number of hockey jerseys I had back in the day that they actually had to use thinner letters on my jersey to make it fit all the way across.
Shows how exciting the second half is, counting letters in players' names.
That's an aggressive challenge there from Bernal, and he's going to be, or excuse me, that's Osorio, and he's going to be issued a yellow card, Toronto's second of the match. And still down in a little bit of pain is Dominic Samuel.
Yeah.
Samuel.
Tough tackle here from Osorio. He's never getting there. He lunges in. He knows, he holds his hands up. He knows it was a late tackle. It wasn't high enough. He kept his boot low and his studs weren't showing, so no danger of a red card, but sore one for Samuel. In fairness to him, he doesn't milk it. He gets up and gets on with the play.
Yellow card issued in the 54th minute to Toronto FC2's number 58, Anthony Osorio.
There's there's not a lot of upside to making a rash tackle like that in that half. Osorio just needs to just stand on his feet.
Tainer heads that forward. James tries to get to it as well. Pushed back forward by Forbes. Now onto the left flank for Becker. We'll send it all the way back, and it will be Farrell to run it down for the Rhinos.
Here's a chance for the team to get up the pitch. You see Hundo working so hard. He needs his teammates to get up the field with him.
This comes down for fall. A little bit of a high boot there near Manella, and it will be a foul called on Dos Santos. It's nearly a dangerous play there.
Just going back to the press there, as soon as Hundo or one of your front players, whether it's Burnell or Job, once they start to go and see that square ball or that backwards pass, it's important that James and Daniels just get up there with them and then try to win that ball in the defensive half of Rochester. If you can get a turnover there, you're 30 yards away from goal, and more times than not, you're in an overload.
Going to see a substitution shortly here as Clément Simonin has approached midfield and will be ushered on shortly. He is rehabbing a knee injury. Seems like that's perpetually the case with the French defender, first rounder last year in the 2015 MLS Super Draft. Loads of potential, just has not been able to stay on the pitch for very long, Terry.
Yeah, he's had a tough run with injuries. The couple times we saw him last year, he's a left-sided center back.
There's a strike. Bono makes a save. Rebound is loose, and it rolls all the way to the near side. Dos Santos will cross it back in, and it is sent out for a corner by Tainter.
Great strike there from Ugarte. Just gets it out of his feet, hits the target. Bono makes a save he should make, pushes it out. Here we see it. Ugarte takes a touch with his right foot, strikes across it with his left, right down the middle of the goal. Bono makes a save he should make, pushes his rebound out wide. Just back on Simonin.
As we see him check in here.
He's a very smooth center half. He's your new breed of center half. He's good on the ball. He's cool. He's got a great range of passing. He's almost like a quarterback playing at center half. He can pick a ball in behind. Probably the only thing he lacks, possibly not at this level, but if he steps up to that next level, is that little bit of pace. But a real good player, really nice on the eye, real smooth, fantastic left foot.
So it will actually be a throw to Rochester, as with this wind it was hard to determine where exactly that ball left the field of play, and it was ruled to be a throw-in for Rochester. They swing it in like a corner here, and it will be headed down and now cleared out by Sharpie. Job has Hundal, and it will be a free kick to Toronto here.
Real late challenge there from Farrell on Job. Hundal does well to use his chest to pass it to Job. Job gets to the ball before Farrell. Farrell follows through on Job. Definitely a foul, possibly even a yellow card. Real clever touch though from Hundal before. You see it off his chest here. Farrell just follows through into Job. Job takes a brunt of his weight.
So will be just a free kick here for Toronto, just past midfield. Sharpie will take it. And it's played back for Tainer. Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. Simonin getting his first touch, heads it down.
Real good header from Simonin there. He reads the play, gets in front of Dos Santos, the big center forward.
Simonin has to be happy with the results from yesterday. A dramatic 2-1 victory for his hometown as they host the 2016 European Championships.
Yeah, what a strike from Payet in the last minute. You see him, after he sticks it into the top corner, come off so emotional. He's almost in tears. He's got the weight of the nation on his shoulders, and yeah, great result for France. Such a talented team.
High expectations for them, many favoring them to win as the host nation. Simonin surely with an eye to that tournament.
Who do you fancy, Matt?
Well, Matt De Nicolantonio certainly will have his eye on the Italian side starting on Monday.
Speaking of the Italian side, only 16 goals in qualifying in 10 games. I don't know if they're going to be the most exciting team to watch in the championships.
Well, that's always been a trademark of them, is defense over offense.
Here we see the foul from here. Job's getting nowhere near it. The big center half there. Astopoulos just makes the most of it. He hardly touches him. Goes down a little bit easy for a big fella. Might have been Becker.
This comes down for James. Dos Santos played in and cleared away by Osorio.
James just a little bit casual there with his first touch. It gets away from him. Dos Santos uses his power and pace, takes a great positive first touch, and Torres just isn't quite on the same wavelength with him. I thought it was a good pass.
Good diving attempt there from Bono, able to snare that. And we'll push it up the pitch. Hundel, the Lone Ranger up there. Able to pull it down. Nobody around to support him at the moment, and Simonin will have to pull this down for Toronto here.
There we see Simonin and his composure and how good he is on the ball. A lot of center halves there would just head it back up the field, but he brings it down on his chest and clever little step over keeps TFC in possession.
Looks like Rochester will be making a pair of substitutions shortly. The leading goal scorer Christian Valesky is approaching midfield, and we also see Michael Garzi. So Rochester will make their first 2 substitutions shortly. Reminder for those of you who may not be as familiar with the USL, 5 substitutions per side are allowed per match.
Well done again from Bono there, off his line, reads the ball in behind.
Free kick won here by Simonin.
Bit of a surprise, Matt, that Valesky didn't start. He had a great goal we saw in the pregame show against Montreal. Big player for Rochester, signed with them in 2015, helped them to win the championships. Just before that, in the MLS Combine, he was voted player of the tournament. Portland Timbers drafted him. Unfortunately, that didn't work out to a contract, but he's found a home here in Rochester, and he's a big player for them. He now has 11 goals and 26 appearances for the club.
So Ugarte and Dominic Samuel will be the ones coming out for the substitutions. And clearly head coach Bob Lilly hoping that his leading goal scorer will inject a little bit of offense into this match that has been wanting it for sure.
Yeah, there's been a couple sort of half chances for Rochester in the second half here. I watched them play FC Montreal in the last game where they won 2-0. Valesky and Dos Santos linked up very well together. Dos Santos stays a little bit higher and Valesky just plays in behind. He'll be more Chris Manella's job to pick up Valesky rather than Simonin or Tainter. It's a little bit strange looking back at the back 4 here, Matt. Normally you always see Skylar Thomas back there. But he'll be happy. It was a good 60 minutes from him after a tough last game where he got sent off.
I know they sort of play a similar position, that center back on the left side, but I think it'd be a real treat at some point to be able to see both of them in at the same time.
No, for sure. Just looking at TFC's bench here and how possibly Jason Benn could change the game. He definitely has a little bit of firepower tonight. Last game we saw he had only 4 subs. 2 players that jump out at me here are Raheem Edwards. He's just coming back from fitness. He picked up a knock away with Team Canada, the under-23 team, in a warm-up camp for the Olympics. Also Malik Johnson. He's got a ton of pace as well. Similar sort of player to Edwards. He plays out wide in a front three. He's got 3 goals in 10 games this season.
Yeah, the top 2 leading goal scorers for this club, Edwards with 4 and Johnson with 3. So 7 combined goals available on the bench from those 2 players for Jason Bent.
Johnson, too, will be coming into this game with a ton of confidence. In the first leg of that Amway Canadian Cup game against the Montreal Impact at BMO, he also made his debut for the first team. So a ton of positives in and around this USL team, even though they've struggled with results a little bit. Don't forget, too, Matt, that this team has led, and that's probably been one of their biggest problems, that they've gotten the lead in games and they've struggled to keep it.
3 2-2 draws this year, which they held a 2-0 lead in 2 of them. And the third was against Pittsburgh in the home opener. They held 2 single-goal leads during that match, and of course conceded late to give up the 2 points.
Yeah, last week against Charlotte, they were up 2-0. That game then gets Charlotte clawed back to 2-2. Then it gets called off. It was at 73 minutes because of lightning. So they've been a little bit unlucky. Just going back to my pressure there, that's what I like to see. Job, he takes a chance there. Probably a foul, but a little bit of a light foul. But there we can see how the front 3 can put pressure on the Rochester back 4 and turn the ball over.
Rochester with an opportunity here. Touch out wide on the left. Looking to swing it in. Does so. Comes down and is cleared away by Tainter. He looks to the referee as he was knocked down. Rochester still controlling. Looking for another cross in. Looking for Dos Santos. A little high for him. And I believe Sean Touch will be whistled for the foul here.
Yeah, Tosh just clashes there with Sharpie. Sharpie does well there to use his body, get in between Tosh and the ball. Clever defending there at the back post from Sharpie, who gives away a couple inches to Tosh.
Fans, don't forget the USL is on your favorite social media platforms at USL on Twitter to keep up with all of the live action during the 2016 USL season, and on Instagram at USL Soccer to see match highlights and action shots from games around the league. So again, at USL on Twitter, at USL Soccer on Instagram.
Check out that website too. It's a real clean website. It's easy to use. All the games are stored there in a database, so you can go back and catch anything that you might have missed.
There's Brian James pushing forward for Hundle, and it's Farrell who will knock it down. James takes it for Toronto. Not for long, however. Tosh is able to win it back with assistance of Garzi. There's Valesky battling against Tainter. Buba Job had it for a moment, knocked out to touch by Garzi, and Toronto will throw.
Welcome to the game, Valesky from Tainter. They're real tight right up his backside there. Tainter uses his strength and then keeps the team in possession, plays a good ball to Job. This is one of his best games so far for TFC2, Tainter. He's been very good tonight.
There's Manella now, trying to send Osorio up that left flank. Osorio looking to cross in for Hundle, just a little heavy, headed back towards the goal. And if that had taken a different deflection, could have been an own goal.
Yeah, we just saw Toronto FC pick up the tempo there. Probably came from the Tainter tackle on the halfway line. Just gave the team a little bit of a lift. Good ball into the box. Hundle can't quite get there. Job's a little bit late coming in at the back post.
It was the center back Apostolopoulos who got ahead to it and looked like he wasn't quite sure where it was headed. No pun intended. There's Brian James pushing forward. He has Hundle with him and Job. Job wide out to the right. Job will swing it in for Bernal. Bernal has to take it down for Hundle, just out of the reach of his head. Job still with it. Not able to get around Becker, and he's going to be called for a little bit of a tug on the shirt there. And Sal Bernal may have gotten away with a handball here on that cross
here we
from Job.
See Simon, what he's so good. Flicks it over one player, plays a clever ball with the outside of his left foot. James attacking play from him. Ball finds its way out to Job. Job plays a ball into the box. Sam Bernal does really well to take it down on his chest, but then it's just an isolated figure of Hundel, and he's surrounded by Rochester players. The attack, though, Matt, there started off with some cool collective play by Simonon. He shows how skillful he is and what great technique he has.
Again, attempting to go up and win that, was unable to do so.
since Rochester made the changes, Torsch, he's come out here to the left-hand side. He's a center forward playing out here on the left side of a midfield 4. I think that's a spot maybe where Sharpie could take him the other way. He won't want to defend.
There's Garzi looking to find Tosh, crosses it in, and it's knocked away by Aiden Daniels and Bernal.
The yellow card issued in the 69th minute to the Rochester Rhinos, number 5, Vasilis Apostolopoulos.
They're announcing in the stadium here a caution to the captain, Apostolopoulos. Did not catch what that might have been for.
I think it was for the late tackle on James where he put it out wide to Joe just before as James is breaking through midfield. Good little spell here the last 10 minutes for Toronto.
Tainter wins the free kick there. Valesky with a little grab to the shoulder. Too much contact in the eyes of the official. Fans, TFC2 season seats are now on sale, just $120 a seat. Visit tfc2.ca to secure your season tickets today in case you want to come out and catch a match live. And if you do not, though, we do appreciate you tuning in tonight on the USL channel on YouTube or wherever you may be. Our fans from Rochester tuning in to watch the Rhinos as well. We thank you for tuning in this evening.
Bit of a stalemate right now. I wouldn't mind seeing Edwards or Johnson come on right now and just inject a little bit of life, a little bit of pace into the side.
Looks like we are going to get to see Luca Uccello, however, and there is Raheem Edwards as well. So a pair of substitutions coming for Toronto. Edwards, obviously a very talented player, leads the team in scoring, and Luca Uccello, a midfielder who does provide a ton of energy. He's a very quick, very energetic player, and he should be able to provide a little bit of a jolt for this Toronto side. And then you add that goal-scoring ability from Raheem Edwards. Seems like a good decision here from Jason Bent to try and capitalize on, you said, a little bit of momentum gained over the last 10, 15 minutes or so for Toronto, and maybe try to build off that.
Yeah, Uccello brings a ton of energy to the team. He makes other players around him actually play better. And then TFC are about to introduce Raheem Edwards, the main man for this Toronto FC team. 4 goals, and he can change a game on his own. He's got the ability to run past players. He's got the ability to score. What I love about him this season is really added a final product to his game.
Substitution for Toronto FC2.
So Uccello in, and Aiden Daniels will be coming out.
Aiden Daniels. Entering the match, number 45, Luca Uccello.
Aiden Daniels can be happy with his performance tonight. I thought he was one of Toronto's definite bright spots in midfield. I love how he surges from midfield. He's got a great change of pace, rarely gave the ball away, and also worked hard defensively.
Sal Bernal coming out for Raheem Edwards. Another good showing for Bernal.
Yes, Sal Bernal worked tirelessly on the left-hand side of a 3. Didn't get a whole bunch of joy out of James. James defended him quite well. But another good outing from Sal Bernal.
And we've seen Edwards and Hundle work very well together this year. And they'll be looking to recapture that a little bit here. I believe the last time we saw Raheem Edwards would have been that game against Richmond, the 1-0 victory. That's coincidentally the last Toronto victory. Then he missed a couple of games. He was on duty with Team Canada.
Yeah, he picked up a bit of an adductor strain. Away from Canada, though, first time called up to the national team, to the Olympic program. And he scored 2 goals in 2 games, was very good for them.
Good confidence boost for the youngster.
Yeah, there's nothing better than playing for your country. Actually, probably the only thing better playing for your country is scoring for your country, and for you to do that on your debut and also your second game just shows the kind of form that Edwards is in.
There's Sharpie down in the right corner. Uccello.
Bringing your main man, Edwards, on as well, it gives your whole team a bit of a boost, too, seeing the cavalry come on.
And that's likewise what Rochester has done with Valesky only about 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, since coming on, Valesky hasn't been able to do too much. Tainter and Simonin have been all over him.
Here's Edwards, his first touch. Looking to pick up Uccello in there, overruns the loose ball. Long pass up, looking for Dos Santos. Simonin is able to swipe it away, and a good bit of defending there from Simonin, and Dos Santos is down. A little bit knocked up right now, still in a seated position, and now just slowly getting to his feet.
Great timing of the tackle there from Simonin. It looks like Dos Santos is going to get in behind him. He comes back with his right foot, gets all ball, and wins it back for Toronto FC.
Edwards in for Uccello. Uccello sends it wide, and he had Hundal running up to him on the left.
This time Edwards is able to pick out Uccello. He just missed him before. Uccello's in a great pocket of space on the edge of the box. Unfortunately, his first touch just bounces up on him a little bit. He has to wait for it to come down, and then he drags it wide with his left foot.
Tosh. Played back now for Becker. Sharpie steps up. Second touch, not able to win it past Garzi. Fall.
Good vision and diagonal ball there by Fall. Good execution as well. Puts it on a dime.
Far side there is Canardo Forbes.
For Forbes. Just when the ball goes back like this is an opportunity where the back four can just step out a little bit. The team can take 5 yards here. You can actually hear Jason Bent screaming at them to get up.
Simonin pulls this down, stumbles. Here's an opportunity for Valesky! And a good defensive play there from Mitch Tainter prevents a scoring opportunity.
Simonin just a little bit too casual, tries to take a ball out of the sky on his left foot. Valesky goes in on goal. From that same spot last week against FC Montreal, he smashes it into the back of the net. He tries to find his strike partner, Dos Santos, but well read by Tainter.
Here's Bubba Job now as Toronto will counter. Job for Uccello! He scores! Luca Uccello! Toronto has the lead.
We've been talking about Edwards and the impact he was going to have, but it's the other substitution, Uccello.
78th minute by number 35, Luca Uccello.
That's the first goal of the season for Luca Uccello, matching his total from last season, and it's an important one in the 78th minute. Toronto is up.
Uccello's part of the build-up play, doesn't just stand and watch his pass, gets it out to Job. Real positive Job. Slides it into Uccello. You think he's just dwelled on it a little bit too much. The defender comes across him and he tucks it away in the far corner. Great finish from the local native.
Uccello, of course, growing up in Woodbridge, right around the corner from the Ontario Soccer Centre. Probably played a lot of his youth soccer here. And he's put his club on the board.
What I love about that goal, Matt, is after going out wide to Job, he's not said, okay, yeah, my job's finished here. He carries on his run, makes a powerful run into the box. He isn't picked up by the midfielder Fall. All of a sudden, he's in an acre in the middle of the goals. Shows great composure and just tucks it away in the far corner with his right foot. Great finish from the young lad.
This is, I believe, the second game in a row Toronto has opened the scoring, or the third game in a row, rather.
Yeah, this would be a fantastic scout for this young Toronto FC team.
There's Dos Santos in, and I think maybe he thought he might have been offside, as he had a lot of room to work there, and he just tried a little bit of a lobby over Alex Bono, and he was able to catch it easily. And Toronto was yelling for an offside, and maybe Dos Santos thought there was one coming. Here's another look at the goal.
Here, the ball comes out wide to Job. Job's been a threat all night, plays a clever little pass into Uccello. He takes one touch out of his feet. I think he's just maybe taken too long on it. It allows the defender to come across. He puts it through the defender's legs to the far corner. Great chance, great goal from Uccello.
There's Simonin, who stepped forward, gets right through 2 defenders, and still pushing forward for Toronto. Edwards chips it up for Simonin, trying to take it on the back foot there. Simonin still with it, now trying to push forward, and I think that may have been a handball on Simonin as he tried to regain the possession. We're going to see a trio of substitutions. One for Toronto, it will be Malik Johnson coming in for Sean Hundle, and a pair for Rochester. It's Andre Fortune and Brandon Beresford all entering.
Substitution for the Rochester Rhinos in the 80th minute. Exiting the match, number 23, Jordan Becker. Entering the match, number 22, Brandon Beresford. Second substitution for the Rochester Rhinos in the 80th minute. Exiting the match, number 17, Wall Hall. Entering the match.
So as the substitutions are making their way on, let's take another look at that Rochester opportunity, if we have a second, where Dos Santos looked like he had all kinds of time and space.
Great ball in behind by Fall. You can't quite see whether it's offside there. I think he tries the right thing. The lob's definitely on, but he underhits it big time. It's amazing in soccer how vulnerable you are after you've just scored. You're so pumped up, all of a sudden you let a player run off of you. And this is where it's important. And it helps when you've got senior players and more experienced players around you, so players keep their cool, they concentrate, and don't give away any silly opportunities.
Foul called here. Toronto will win the free kick, and they'll have just under 10 minutes to defend this lead.
Hundle has just come off. He's worked hard tonight. It was a tough task for him. He's up against 2 big center halves in Farrell and Apostolopoulos. But I thought he did well. He led the line on his own. Definitely a tough night for him, but he held the ball up when he could. He tried to bring others into play. Worked really hard defensively for the team. Didn't quite get that chance.
And Malik Johnson, as we see an opportunity here for Rochester again. And it will be a foul called to Rochester.
Yeah, more solid play there from Tainter. He gets his body in between the ball and Voleski.
I was going to say, so Malik Johnson, second on the team with 3 goals, but he offers so much on the defensive side of the game too that maybe at this point Sean Hundle does not.
Yeah, I think Shondell just run himself into the ground. He was tired. He was walking off there. He'd put a big shift in for the team. Malik Johnson brings a little bit more pace. He's a little bit more direct. He's a little touch raw, but if I'm Rochester, after 82 minutes, he's the last player I want to see come on running in behind me. You might see the Rochester back four just drop a little bit, wary of his pace.
Job looking to connect with Brian James, but not able to do so. Johnson looking for a steal there, unable to find that either, but Manella is the one who stands his ground and wins it back for Toronto.
Chris Manella in the middle of the park. He's quietly having a good game.
They're going to give this throw to Rochester, deflected off Bouba Job.
He
taken quickly.
Sorry, he plugs a lot of holes, Matt, in front of Simonin and Tainter, Skylar Thomas in the first half. He reads the play really well. His passing's been good. It's been crisp. Not as positive as we've seen it in recent weeks, but he's always kept his side in possession.
They've announced a crowd of 1,262 here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. Close to a sellout capacity here, and one of the better crowds we've seen this season. Just as we mentioned earlier, fantastic night for football. There's a bit of, I guess, maybe riding the wave of the international tournaments right now. Interest level in the sport very high at this point in the year.
Yeah, and it's a great team for the fans to come out and watch. They see an experienced Rochester team come into town tonight. There's some very good players out here. Brian James played in the first team recently. So it's a great night for families to come out and see the product of the USL and some of these TFC 2 players that could possibly get into Toronto FC's first team. Also as well, makes a big difference. It was a beautiful night. It was probably close to 30 degrees.
And excellent competition for Toronto as well. One of the better teams in the league, the Rochester Rhinos in town. And of course the defending champions. As Dos Santos fights off the defender there. There's a strike and it's over the goal. And it will be a goal kick. And Terry, there's sort of an expression across all sports, not just in soccer, but to be the best, you have to beat the best. And what would a victory over this team do for the confidence and the mentality of a young Toronto squad?
This would be huge for their confidence. They've played well in the last 4 or 5 games. They haven't quite got the results that probably their performances have deserved. Tonight, it was a battle in the first half. They've stuck with it in the second half. One of the substitutions have come in, Uccello, and he scored a big goal. There we see a great first touch from Dos Santos. Goes out wide, just misses over the net there. But it'd be huge for the team if they can beat the reigning USL champions. It's not easy. You get in a little bit of a rut, too, when you've not won in 5 or 6 games.
That's a dangerous tackle there from Brian James, and he sent it out for a corner. Very aggressive on Dos Santos in the area.
Yeah, he's a real handful, Dos Santos. It's important that Sharpie doesn't get dragged to the ball. You saw he just sort of slid over a little bit too much, and there was a player open at the back post.
And this is only the second or third corner one from Rochester here tonight. And it's stopped by Bono, very nearly scoring on this corner opportunity, and it's out for another corner.
I think Job at the near post, he heads it over. Good alert play from him. It's a big Rochester team here.
This is headed away, and now finally cleared by Simonin. And Toronto withstands back-to-back corners from the Rhinos. You can hear Jason Bent hollering at Bouba Job over the last minute or so, giving him directions and yelling at a man who had slipped in behind him. Let's take a look at the first. This is the first corner.
Yeah, great corner into the box.
I think you're right that Job does get the head to it, but Bono was right there.
Good run from Torsch, gets his head onto it. He heads it down, does what he needs to do. Job's alert on the near post, jumps and heads it away.
Looks like it's going to be a foul here on Luca Uccello. And nothing more than that. The Rochester defender still down on the pitch, and his goalkeeper was ready to send away the free kick, and the referee had to hold him up. I believe that's Apostolopoulos. Now Tosh. Headed through by James. And that's Mitch Tainter. We'll send it back to midfield. And Johnson unable to maintain the possession.
Yeah, it's important at this stage with only a few minutes to go that TFC keep that ball, don't give it away cheaply.
Job pushes that forward. Maybe not necessarily looking for Johnson, but the vicinity. Manella working against 3 or 4 Rochester players, and Cooley slides it out to Osorio, who will push it up for Edwards, who's not able to keep it in the park.
We've seen the big center half, Farrell. He's now moved up into the attack. Rochester throwing everything at Toronto FC.
About 100 seconds plus added time, and this now will be a free kick for the Rhinos. Looked like the referee might be interested in playing advantage, but when it went out of bounds, calls the foul.
Simonin looking a little bit rusty there. Mistimes his challenge on Farrell. You don't want to be giving away cheap free kicks in and around the box. Rochester's such a big team and a threat on set pieces. Here we see Simonin misses the ball by about 10 minutes, brings down Farrell. Definitely a free kick. And another opportunity for Rochester to put it into the box.
Third yellow card of the evening for Toronto. This is swung in, headed up and over by Apostolopoulos.
He has to score there. Poor marking from Toronto FC. Another good ball into the box. He's 2 yards away from goal. I'm not too sure what James is doing there. He loses him. He's got a free header, Apostolopoulos. At minimum, he's got to work the goalkeeper.
And now this will give Bono an opportunity to kill some time here and send it forward. Played in for Dos Santos. He's able to pull it down, finds Valesky. Sharpie is there to intercept. And now Raheem Edwards countering for Toronto with Johnson. Has Uccello with them. Uccello stopped, probably to remain on side. And it was intercepted. 2 minutes of added time.
Indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of Maestro watches added time in the second half.
Toronto FC 2, that number of minutes away from a victory that would surely be an upset over the Rochester Rhinos. Here's Malik Johnson. Johnson! It's a second goal for Toronto on an unbelievable strike from Malik Johnson. My heavens, what a strike.
FC2 goal scored in the 90th minute by number 56, Malik Johnson.
Malik Johnson into the area and a thunderous strike into the top corner. Not a chance for Gomez. And talk about tactical decisions from Jason Bent. 2 substitutions in this second half. Luca Uccello and Malik Johnson have both found the back of the net, and Toronto has a 2-0 advantage over the defending champions. And they'll have to face the onslaught here from the Rhinos, but how much time do they have? Thrown in by Beresford. Knocked down, Valesky! And Rochester has gotten one back. My, oh my, what a turn of events here at the Ontario Soccer Centre as Rochester, in injury time, has pulled to within 1, spoiled the clean sheet for Alex Bono.
Rochester Rhinos goal scored in the 90th minute by number 15.
And correction, it is not Valesky, it is number 15, Joseph Farrell. My apologies. Joseph Farrell pulls down that throw-in, and in one swift motion, buries it in the back of the goal. And Toronto will have to fend off another onslaught here from Rochester. Here's Dos Santos. Dos Santos deflected away. Headed forward by James. Headed back up by Tainter. Here's an opportunity. Cleared. Tosh. James. Offside flag is up on the far side. As just ahead of the play was Dos Santos. Wow, for a game that was a little bit sleepy for the first 80 minutes, the last 10 have not lacked for drama. And Bono will send this forward, and that could be it, as we are 3 minutes into injury time here. A minimum of 2 will still be played, but we've had 2 goals in that time. And how much more will Toronto have to fend off? None. There's the final whistle. Toronto holds on and beats the defending champions 2-1 over the Rochester Rhinos. Goals from Luca Uccello and Malik Johnson propelled Toronto to their first victory in the last 5 games. It snaps a 5-game winless streak. They had not won since a 1-0 victory over Richmond back on May 11th. It's their 3rd victory of the season, and probably none more satisfying. than this one here tonight, taking down Rochester, who they were winless against in 4 opportunities a year ago. And in their first crack at the champs in 2016, Toronto has pulled off the upset and beaten Rochester 2-1. Luca Uccello opened the scoring for Toronto in the 78th minute. Malik Johnson extended it to 2-0 with a fantastic strike in injury time. And Joseph Farrell was able to get Rochester on the board and win one back. But it was just a little bit too little, too late for Rochester. And Toronto with maybe the most impressive victory in their franchise history. Certainly the most impressive victory of their 2016 campaign. What a game, what a finish. As I mentioned, it was sleepy for 75 minutes. Hardly any chances on either side. And then Luca Uccello with the opening salvo was able to give Toronto the lead that they would not relinquish. What can you say about Malik Johnson? Terry and I talked about it. Terry is pitch side, by the way. That's why you haven't heard from him in the last few minutes. Terry is pitch side, waiting for our post-game interview. We talked about Malik Johnson when he came on and just the spark that he'd be able to provide to this team. And he said that would be the last player, if he was Rochester, that he would want to see running in behind him. And lo and behold, he was able to get a bit of a run and a thunderous right-footed strike. His 4th goal of the season, now tied with Raheem Edwards for the team lead. And I have to say, probably all 4 of his goals have been of the highlight reel variety. You certainly remember the goal against Montreal, his first of the season, that wonderful run right through the middle of the defense. Scored a similar goal against Pittsburgh and then was able to find the back of the net last Saturday in Charlotte in that 2-2 draw with the Independents. And that was just another fantastic goal for Malik Johnson tonight. You see him signing some autographs. Hugs and smiles all around for Malik Johnson. It's a 2-1 victory. We will be back with you on Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. Toronto and FC Montreal. For Terry Dunfield, I'm Matt DeNicolantonio. Thanks for watching, everyone. The final from Toronto, TFC 2, Rochester 1. Have an excellent Saturday night.